G'day viewers. Today is just a chat with myself and Peter. We'll still be speaking about heavy-hitting, relevant political topics, though.
Try to.
Some of them, most of them are relevant. We're going to discuss racial tensions in Australia, psychopaths in politics, sex offenders in politics. We're also going to chat about some of Fusion's recent political submissions about owners corporations. So that's a lot more sane than the other stuff. We're going to discuss a bit about psychology as well. What's ahead?
Well, hopefully no one gets fired up.
I don't think they would. I don't. Okay, let's go. G'day listeners, welcome to My First Party. My name's Owen Miller, I'm the convener and a candidate for the Fusion Party.
And I'm Peter. I'm just doing what I do.
Fair enough. Hey, so Peter, you enjoyed all the marches yesterday? There were quite a few protests.
I actually didn't see a lot of it. I saw a little bit today on the ABC News, but yeah, I actually didn't see a lot.
It's I was thinking about going to some of them.
Which ones? Which side?
I should just I will admit. So I saw, for instance, there was an ABC article. It had what was the slogan? I took so many notes today.
Was the slogan about protecting the police who were trying to protect?
Oh no! Hang on. So there's this big banner. It says "Unite to fight the right."
Oh,
that's the main text.
Okay.
Any thoughts about that, by the way? Unite to fight the right.
No. Keep talking.
Okay. Anyway, and then as the subheading was campaign against racism and fascism.
So on what channel was this?
This was an ABC report I was reading, and so this was being held by these sorts of people. They were having like the Palestinian flag, that sort of thing. So I was going to mention what was it, like 2 weeks ago? Unfortunately, loyal viewers would remember our friend Miles coming here.
Mm-hmm.
He's with the Fusion Party. He got assaulted that day. He was at the Aboriginal Camp Sovereignty, and then the camp got raided. It's, that's a can of worms. Anyway, sorry, just to clarify for the viewers, I found it really unsatisfying that, with this slogan, for instance, and with, I saw there was going to be a counter protest for that, basically anti-immigration protest. But yeah, I was very unsatisfied with the idea of let's cancel them out let's try to block them from even speaking, from voicing their opinions. And you see this slogan at the moment, unite the right, campaign against racism and fascism. Well, that's not the terms of the debate that they agreed to. They would, their whole protest was about let's reduce immigration, let's stop quote unquote mass migration.
Hold on, I'm not quite following here. So are you suggesting that the aim at the start was to stop that first march, because people were saying it's not right that allegedly the right wanted to have this march, which was about, we fear our housing crisis is getting out of control, and some of us feel that immigration is to blame. So if that's our opinion, right or wrong, we should have a right to say it.
Yeah.
And so you're saying, well, that's a freedom of speech, so they should do it, which, I'm all for it. That's what they want to do. But as you're talking there, you mentioned our, past guest Miles, who was assaulted at that Camp Sovereignty. I've got a question then for you in relation to that before we move on too much. Do you think that action was political violence?
Potentially. So the way it was portrayed.
No, not portrayed.
Yeah,
where they raided the Camp Sovereignty.
So there's conflicting stories. So the story that I heard, first of all, I saw Mars the other day, I was trying to get more details. The popular narrative is that basically neo-Nazis, when they were done with the immigration protest, they saw Camp Sovereignty and thought, let's fight them too.
Can I just stop you there? Irrespective of what and I'm not sure where you're going to go with this, but irrespective of what we may hear the rationale of anyone storming that camp was, whether they think, I know I heard the stories that someone said their cars got scratched or whatever. To me, I don't care. So I don't care about anyone's rationale. I'm saying those individuals stormed that little camp there for their intended purpose, right? So the action that they did. So we could just as rightly say that someone who shot someone in America, whoever did it, had a reason, right? I don't care about their rationale.
Yeah. Oh, sure. It's not
They did
controversial
it.
to say
The
that.
action,
Yeah.
the action is a political violence in America's instance, and
Yeah.
everyone's claiming it as political violence. My question to you, back at the heart of this, and again, without going into the rationale, I don't care about stuff about does Israel want to have a right to defend themselves. I'm talking about the action. Is the action of that group political violence?
Oh, I was saying maybe not because, as you alluded to, there was a story that the cars got vandalized.
Again, I don't care about the
that's not-
rationale. I'm talking about that action. I don't care about their rationale. I'm talking about their action of storming.
Hang on, but sure, if we accept the story that this was payback for damage.
So you can't answer. So you can't answer me the question.
I'm trying to answer.
No.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Okay. If the story is like, if it's true that the cars got vandalized and this is payback for vandalizing the cars.
And these thugs, which they are thugs, because act of violence in like that is thuggery, right? Had proof that these individuals were the car scratchers.
Yeah. Well, if it's retaliation for...
And again, you've shifted the terms of reference to something that's not my question.
No, you were saying it's political violence. I'm saying if it was payback for scratching cars, then that's
there's
not
no
political
proof.
violence.
But there's no proof that that's what it was.
That's why I can't give it a definitive answer.
Okay, so are they a political movement?
Yeah, sure, we can say it's political group.
No. So that guy would the whole intent there.
Thomas Sewell.
Yeah, and the group and stuff that they were saying, were they politically motivated?
Well, beforehand they were, sure, but then we're saying like
even the people that were marching from the outset, they had some political intent, whether it was to stop immigration, to change policy. There was political reasons why they were there.
Well, sure, why they were there that day, yeah. But then in terms of why they raided Camp Sovereignty, I'm saying it looks like that was probably a political attack. But if it turns out it was just, payback for the car scratching.
So just random people wearing black shirts.
Well, they were
getting their cars scratched.
They were together, sure. Yeah. And, they probably parked together if their cars were vandalized. Keep in mind as well, there were reports that the counter-protest group, they were allegedly like filling out water balloons with, bodily fluids. They were throwing bottles at the...
Which, no, you're right. And actually, I heard some other stories. There was some flotillas going down the Yarra, and there was some women dressed with jeeps throwing their kids into the Yarra. That was actually going on. And Johnny Howard was flying in a gyroscope, calling it out. And no one stopped him. What the fuck?
What a disgrace.
Really, how to shift the terms of reference from the actual violence to allegedly someone got their car scratched or someone had some urine thrown in them in a condom. What bullshit. I'm not calling you. I know it's on the news.
Wait, are you saying it didn't happen? Sorry?
No, the burden of proof isn't on me. The burden of proof is on the individual saying, my car got scratched or someone threw some urine at me. It's on them, one, to make their connection to someone, first of all. And
what
then,
if they saw
can I finish? And then they could call the police and say, that's what happened.
Oh, the police.
And then again, see, you want to focus on the terms of reference that you want to make it, except for what I actually asked, and that was the action. A political group committed an action, right? Now, again, their rationale of why they want to say that someone took my, Preparation H hemorrhoid cream and I couldn't sit for the rest of the week down on my chair is irrelevant to me. Their action, I'm saying that, my comment I just said there, is as likely as the car scratching.
Wait, you're saying...
Yes.
Well, you're saying like there's no way their cars would have been scratched?
No, just as likely someone took the hemorrhoid cream. It's just a likely story. Why is your story more plausible than mine?
That sounds very plausible. People scratch cars all the time.
Where's the proof?
They might have seen it.
But you've taken ownership of
it. They might have seen it. You're saying, they should report it to the police.
Yeah, and someone saw them take the hemorrhoid cream.
Well, one story which is even more plausible, I find.
Yet the only thing that's not plausible is the only thing we know factual, that what they did.
No, I don't dispute that.
Yeah, but you're watering it down to the fact that...
Let's get on. That's not a point I wanted to make.
Because it doesn't suit the narrative.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on. What's the quote of the day? By the way, Owen got a haircut.
I was going to show it to the viewers. Now that he said it. Yeah, my mother was... I did my outfit. But my mother was very upset.
Why?
For years. She said I looked too gay.
Oh my God, what's too gay? Too gay. That sounds like a province near... I don't know, what country's next to gay?
But anyway, my mother, she's a hypocrite, by the way. So
Really?
when, previously, like, when I used to dye my hair pink, obviously I had to like bleach it regularly. Sometimes I would leave it just bleached blonde for, a week or two. And then, like one time she saw me in that state, she said, I shouldn't leave my hair blonde because I look like a slut.
She slut-shamed you.
This is my mother saying this. Yeah.
Come on.
And so she denies it now. But anyway,
She's embracing the slut.
well, yeah. So at that time, she encouraged me, like, you should, finish it off, finish dyeing your hair pink. Okay,
So generally, your mum views blondes as sluts. Is that what takes?
seems to be, yeah.
Not that you're a slut, but that you look like a slut.
That was, yeah, a very vicious
Cool.
allegation. Yeah.
I was thinking of maybe doing blonde up the top, just
Oh, yeah.
but
Oh, who's that guy? There's that British.
Eminem.
No. This he actually, I think he's Australian actually, but lives in Britain. He's like a media promoter. He got this surgery done. He has the bleached hair. He got the surgery done so it looks as though he has the six pack, even though he's like overweight. So total.
not dueling the sound.
But that's with this guy. He works as a media promoter. So like,
Sorry,
already
someone in the media lived in London for a while.
massive narcissist. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, it's good on him for getting back. Did you see?
Yes,
a few weeks
It
back.
was
Yeah,
across the bridge.
yeah, exactly. Harbour Bridge. Yeah.
For the viewers that don't know. Really
Yeah,
it's
I should mention. I mentioned to Peter recently. I was pleasant. Not
pleasantly.
I was surprised that lots of our viewers are American. So sorry, we should give it a lot more context for everything. But then actually, let's do the quote of the day now. Shall we?
Okay. I was just kind of trying to deflect.
Okay. With the viewers are keen now. So it's not a philosopher today. It's sort of relevant to the protest stuff we were saying before. So, quote unquote, in multiracial societies, you don't vote in accordance with your economic interests and your social interests. You vote in accordance with race and religion. So this is a leader of a country. This leader said the quote. Oh, they're not the leader anymore. But this quote was said in the last 100 years in a country that still exists.
I'll pick an easy one. So the Gandhi-esque kind of dude.
Yeah, that's not a bad guess. I'm just thinking how feasible it would be. But I'll give so a hint is this was indeed a multiracial society, a very multiracial society that they're talking about. Very as in like, what is it in Australia? Like I think 25-30% of people were born overseas.
Well, I'm trying to think of a very, very, it's easy to sound like a Canada or something, but they're very, very.
Oh, I'm trying to establish it's more multiracial than Australia or Canada.
Okay, more.
Maybe some viewers will have guessed by now. And anyway, it was,
you also the US, but that's not.
no, that more, yeah. Oh, I guess an easier guess. What countries are very multiracial?
That's what I'm trying to like. Wait a minute, I'm just thinking. Go on.
Oh, it was Singapore. So this was Lee Kuan Yew.
Is it?
Yeah. Lee Kuan Yew. For anyone who isn't familiar, he.
What's the breakup? Do you have the breakup?
Yeah. Offhand, I remember. I'm pretty sure it's like 1/3 Chinese background, 1/3 Indian, and then 1/3 Malay.
Hold on, that's the most multi.
Well, what do you mean? That's more multiracial than Australia.
Really?
Well, what do you mean? Like you walk out on the street, most people are white.
The whole country. You're saying it's just like four different races. In
Well, like
country.
3, yeah.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, that's
in
my
Singapore.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the most.
Oh, I guess if it was 50-50, then I guess. Oh, hang on. How do we define? Well, anyway, viewers.
We need a fact checker.
Please add your comments. I think that Singapore makes a pretty good definition of a multiracial society.
Yeah, but the most.
Okay, anyway, that's not the point. Peter, what do you think?
That's the point.
Oh no, the point is like, do we agree? Well, here's Lee Kuan Yew telling the truth. Like, is it correct that many people just vote by their racial identity?
Well, there is a collective bias that happens. Whether it's race, that's one aspect. Other aspects are obviously economic, where you live. Obviously, we've spoken about the Teals, right? They're generally in a particular seat, because they didn't like, what their Liberal, candidate did. So it's not as if the person that's coming out of that seat all of a sudden became a Trotskyist. So there is a collective bias that occurs even in that group. Now,
Oh, but-
what drives that group to then still maintain that same general, political view?
Well, sure. The Teals very much lean into the idea, vote for me because I'm a local.
No,
They
yeah.
don't say, vote for me because I'm one of you.
No, I get that still, but the local, but I'm saying no one's going around then saying, oh, there's a vacuum here because they've rejected the LNP candidate. Yeah, Josh is out. So
Yeah.
you know what? Here's my chance as a Marxist to go around. I'm a local. I'm going to become the next Marxist candidate here and win.
Oh, slow down. Sorry.
Okay. So the collective bias that happens in Kooyong, for instance, it's not going to have a material shift, whether it's an LNP or a teal, right? Their policies, they might massage a little bit different, but what unites them is a collective bias.
Yeah, sure. I guess you're saying that like in Kooyong and like the Teal seats, that they don't do what Lee Kuan Yew is suggesting.
No, they do very much, but it's a different collective bias. So whether it's religion, culture, socioeconomic, people,
I guess,
people
yeah.
do tend to vote with what unites someone.
I guess Lee Kuan Yew, I think maybe he could be right in that, like Kooyong and all these places, are they really multiracial societies? As we were saying before, it used to be blue ribbon Liberal seats. Like I know North Shore, for instance, that flipped in the federal election, North Shore of Sydney. That's where I grew up. That is like much more white than most city places in Australia. And so, that's recently flipped from Liberal to now 26 votes in favour of the independent candidate. Quote unquote independent.
Well, I bet they're not Marxists, though.
Exactly. I guess since it is like not multiracial in these seats, then I guess we can conclude maybe like voting on different grounds is sort of their second preference. But in order to, in word of support for Lee Kuan Yew,
I'd argue, let's go back to your thing about Singapore, the fact that there is a strong, let's say, big Chinese ethnic group there. Yeah, what he's saying is true. And yes, they can sway perhaps the political bias as they do probably in Malaysia. You've got your Indian group there, probably both primarily in their interest, and they'll use that cultural aspect to sway votes, whether they do it through a racist, what's in our favour versus the common enemy, the bigger enemy, and whatever strings they pull. Yes, that's one element. The Kooyong people will use something else. Yes, we've got ourselves our first Chinese candidate, if there's a big Chinese component in there. Or our Hebrew candidate who, who goes to Israel and visits, and he's done all that. So that's not done by accident. They're not going to drop Josh in Broadmeadows to try and win the Broadmeadows Liberal seat, are they? So, no, they won't.
but isn't a lot of it like where the person is actually from?
But they drop candidates.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they also leverage off the ethno group component as well. They'll put someone in to run for where there's also, you're going to have that commonality bias as well. That affiliation of affinity.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. And
but it's human traits, right? I mean, it's the emotional.
There was I was going to mention.
I'm sorry, I'm not saying I advocate this. This is just behavioural science.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Okay. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah. So to back up Lee Kuan Yew's point, I remember I saw a picture the other day. Don't know where it was, but somewhere in Australia, they had all these voting signs. And I think 4 different people. Anecdotally, these people were all looked foreign born, not white ancestry. And then all their signs, it was just, vote one, righto. That's it. Like, the name of the party, vote one, this guy, that guy. And it's like, wait, why? Like, no policy points. Same as,
You mean like the same people that went on the streets 2 weeks ago to wave Australian flags because they had an affinity to some country that they already knew they lived in?
I don't know that this is especially comparable.
Well, you're saying they're just voting on this person because they have an affinity to the ethnic group without even understanding the policy.
I'm not saying that that's necessarily what the voters are doing, but that's
they generally are.
That's what the candidates are leaning
towards. Well, they generally are. A lot of people do, because it's like, well, I don't know, I don't really understand any of the policies, but you know what? He looks like me. I'm sure he will look after me.
Yeah, I think it's tragic, and I should just mention.
But I'm rounding it out to your starting point, where these people who had freedom of expression to go out and say, you know, I fear about what's happening to my country, and waving the flag of the country, which I know where you're living. What's the point of that? If you really want to get political, get political. Like I'm saying, there are opportunities every day, like we've discussed on this podcast.
Oh, Felix.
That was nothing more than them wanting the opportunity to express their racist tendencies. You can batch it up any way you want. That's what it was. And they had no issue listening to people say some speeches there. And it's like, well, you know, it was kind of hijacked, but no, that's what it was. And no one's going to convince me otherwise. The people that were there knew exactly what they were there for.
Okay. But just before we finish up this point, I should clarify to listeners. Sorry, when I brought up these people with like different like signs, you know, vote for me, essentially because of like I'm one of you.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that in the Aston election where I was running in 2023, I was going to say Liberal and Labor did the same thing. So Rashina Campbell from the Liberal Party, her sign said, you know, Rashina Campbell, a strong voice for Aston. Pretty vague. And then Mary Doyle, the successful Labor candidate, her sign was putting locals first, something like that. Again, very vague.
Wow.
You know,
what happens to you can't stop progress? Bill Hislop.
Yeah, that was for our American viewers.
Muriel's Wedding. Watch it.
Muriel's Wedding with Toni Collette. Fantastic movie. Yes, from
best Australian film ever made.
Oh, up there with Priscilla. Yeah.
No, better than Priscilla.
It's slightly better. Yeah.
No. I love it.
But anyway, definitely recommend viewers. But then so in terms of what were we saying before? Yeah, so that's right. So in the Aston election, that was historic because it was a by-election, and that typically swings against the government. People are often upset while the government's in power. But this by-election in Aston was historic because it actually swung towards the government and they flipped the seat against the opposition, which is historic.
Because there's a sex offender.
No,
we're not talking about that one, are we?
I was going to bring that up.
Oh,
though.
shit. I thought that you're already winning
that guy was...
Sorry. Scrap. I was not calling Owen Aston a sex offender.
That was Alan Tudge. So he retired over the Robodebt scandal, yeah. But yeah, the segue I wanted to make was the sex offender in Kiama. So Kiama's on the south coast of New South Wales, the east coast. So I don't know much about Kiama, but I'm not going to make judgments about these people. But I will in a moment.
That's the Democratic Republic of Congo saying. It's like, we're not dictators. We are a democracy. We are a republic. So here comes the slagging off of...
Bit of background. So anyone who doesn't keep, eagle eye on Australian politics. So Gareth Ward from Kiama. So he studied commerce, arts, and then law. He became an official, like a practicing...
And the Barnaby Joyce of how to get married again.
Oh,
well, I don't know.
I don't know about that. There is going to be a Barnaby reference later in the story, though. So, so he became a registered solicitor, joined Shoalhaven City Council in 2004. At that time, he was aged 24.
Whoa.
That was
so straight from uni went to pretty much. And
so
he never really practiced law, so he's not very good at it.
Oh no, but in council, that's not a full-time job.
No.
So
maybe he was practicing on the side to get better at it.
Yeah, exactly. And so, actually worth mentioning, so he was in the Liberal Club in university.
Wow.
So, right from day one.
A ranger.
So Shoalhaven City Council, became deputy mayor. In 2011, he became, he got into state parliament. He pushed out this existing woman, Anne Sudmalis.
A lot of pushback then.
And so we're going to say, Peter sort of spoke. Not that it was a big surprise, but so he was charged with sexual crimes in recent days.
What did the local people of the town do once they heard that?
Well, don't worry, it's a very short story. Don't worry, we'll get to that. But so 2011 came to state parliament. 2013 is when this alleged first assault happened. So that was when he was aged 33. This was against an 18-year-old man. Then in 2015 was the next assault. So when he's 35, that assault was against a 24-year-old man. Then only in 2021.
It was not DiCaprio, at least. He's incrementally.
Yeah, I guess. But so the scandal sort of first broke in 2021. So this is 8 years after the first event. And so it was revealed that I don't know, there were rumors that the police were investigating someone in state parliament for, sex crimes. And so he identified himself and left the Liberal Party, but stayed in parliament.
LNP would never have that kind of behaviour.
Peter, we spent already this show criticising the...
No, I'm actually, I'm convinced.
Yeah, but you'll see the Barnaby reference coming up soon. But
It's international, by the way.
Yeah. That's the N in the LNP for people. Yeah. So then, charged in early 2022. So keep in mind, this charge, that's 9 years after the first offence.
And whilst the populace knew all about this, but
Who knew about it?
the people who kept voting him in.
Oh, not yet. So the earliest they could have known was May 2021.
Well,
besides
the charges,
the victims themselves. Yeah, at least one of them was from the area.
Yes.
I don't know if both were. But anyway, so then to Peter's point, there was an election in March 2023. So keep in mind, this is 2 years after he identified himself, a year after he was charged, and he got re-elected. There was a swing of 10% against him. But keep in mind, it was...
He's an Aussie battler.
I mean, he was charged, but he hadn't been... The next step is actually being found guilty.
Outing himself is not enough.
No, sorry, he only outed himself
from the Liberal, the one being looked into.
Yeah, as the person of interest, not as necessarily the person who did it. No. Anyway, so then, got re-elected, even though there was this hanging over him.
The sword of Damocles in that town is not big enough to cast a shadow.
But then this is the reference I think you're going to make, Peter. So in July 2024, a year after the election, he turned up at Parliament House at 4 a.m., allegedly drunk in his underwear, grabbing his spare key to his home because he'd locked himself out. Although this allegation that he was in his underwear, it turned out as boxer shorts, which I think is more...
Fitting in within the town's, formal attire.
Yeah, that's maybe what kind of people wear.
Yeah, 4 a.m.
Like this is in Sydney.
It was in Sydney. Sorry.
Anyway, but
you're probably more familiar with the streets of Sydney that attire is appropriate.
Oh, well, I'm saying, wouldn't viewers agree as well? Wearing boxer shorts is like the more sort of socially acceptable if you're seen out.
Especially in like the probably mid to late 90s, where it was very much your Disney kind of sleeves and and Disney boxer shorts.
Oh, are you thinking the onesie?
Yeah, no. There was very much a Disney theme going around with boxer shorts and stuff. Like kind of like Friends period.
Yeah, you're right.
It was really terrible.
It doesn't happen as much anymore.
No, it doesn't happen. Yeah. I think really they got into more of the Calvin Klein-y, tighter brief stuff of late, which I don't know. I thought you would have approved of as well. But you like the looser fit.
Well, it depends who's wearing it. I mean. Anyway, but moving on from the passion statements. The next point in the timeline is
case in point.
the next part of the timeline is so he was found guilty. The trial started May 2025. So keep in mind, this is 12 years after the allegation.
The police worked well up there.
Well, yeah, and so hang on. So the trial started 4 years after he left the Liberal Party.
And what happened in 2013 again?
2013 is when the first assault happened, allegedly.
Allegedly. So I'm saying...
he was found guilty.
Yeah, from 2013 right up until... We still haven't got to the point where he's actually left Parliament, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying...
No, we did.
Yeah. We did?
Oh, no, sorry, we haven't. Yeah,
we haven't. Yeah. So I'm just saying the amount of police work that's been going on up there, that's a solid case that someone's been working on. The KPIs for the New South Wales police force in that northern region.
South Coast.
South Coast. I didn't mean to offend the North Coast police force up there, but the Southern police force, kudos. Kudos.
It's messed up. And so that was one of the things that stood out in the story to me. The fact that why does it take so long? But then, so trial started May 2025.
It's got to cross those I's and dot those T's up there.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't put it on the timeline when he left Parliament, but there was a by-election on the weekend, so he would have left Parliament, 2 months ago?
Just before.
Yeah. And so the sentencing happens on the 19th. So we're filming on this is in the future for us. The sentencing's in the future. But, so...
Disappointed a lot of local people. They're really gunning for another.
Well, that's the thing. So the reason I brought the story up, so Leo from 6 News, I saw he was saying on Twitter, people were writing in informal ballots on the paper. They were writing 1, Gareth Ward, falsely accused. And was reading reports as well that people coming into the booths, someone said, I'd still vote for Gareth if he was there. And, the person replies, but he was charged, for sexual assault. I don't care. I would still vote for him anyway. So, but yeah, it was historic because, so keep in mind, Gareth Ward was Liberal before he left, but Labor has now won this seat, even though Labor's in government. And as we were saying before, by-elections normally go against the government. So yeah, I wonder, why would it have flipped? Because, the federal election, people saying that the Liberal Party lost because people were scared of Peter.
Well, it flipped because clearly there were less freaks in that town than probably people suspected.
Yeah, sorry. When I say flipped, I would have been predicting that it would stick in Liberal.
No, that's what I meant. The people that were still advocating and saying, he's a battler, let him keep going. Yeah. More people actually had common sense to say, no, fuck this.
No, but hang on, just to clarify. So there was a Liberal candidate, a Labor candidate.
Yeah. Oh, because he came from the same inkwell.
Yeah. Oh, but so you're saying voters would think, Gareth Ward was a sex offender, therefore Liberals are basically sex offenders.
Well, I don't know what their thinking is, but I'm suspecting that it's come from the same pool.
Yeah. Could be. Oh, because,
not just because he changed independent, he just changed his brand.
Yeah, well, yeah, when he...
I don't suspect his politics probably changed.
Well, it makes me wonder as well.
Did it? Because if his politics changed, it's like, you know what? Now the gloves are off. Once I was at LNP, right? And now I've been potentially, captured or at least suspected as a sex offender. The gloves are now going to be off. I'm changing. I'm now going to sex offend without any gloves.
But yeah, I mean, even if you were a Gareth Ward fan before, I mean, the fact that he was suspended from Parliament for a bit. So when he resigned from the Liberal Party 2021, and then up till the election, so for 2 years when he was an independent, he wasn't participating in Parliament. It's only once he got re-elected as an independent that he was readmitted into Parliament. And so it's a tricky situation. Even if you're a fan of his before, if he wasn't even in Parliament for 2 years, why are you voting for him again? He hasn't got a track record.
I suspect, as we spoke about before, the commonality of bias and the groupings. If you look probably at the individuals who may be walking in there, there may be some, let's say, DNA lineage to these individuals. It's a very small town, I suspect.
I was saying before, I didn't want to make any judgments against the people of Kyle.
Well, I'm not making it again because clearly a whole lot of them voted Labor. Not that that's going to do them a lot of good, but at least there's a lot of them that said, no, we dismiss this out, in any way.
Yeah.
But I suspect there's a whole lot of, sycophantic voting that goes up there because everyone has been eating from the same trough for at least a decade.
Well, we were saying before, so Barnaby, I'm not sure if the American listeners remember, but we were talking in a previous episode about Barnaby getting drunk in Canberra, stumbling, falling over in a flower pot, screwing his secretary.
Who's now his wife.
Yeah. It's, but then, he's been in New England.
What did you have to paint that image in my head again?
He's been he keeps getting re-elected in New England. These people...
We're not even talking about the corruption. We've even spoken about the corruption stuff going on.
Yeah, that too. It's, I guess, Gareth, he wouldn't have had much sway, no room to be corrupt for how many years?
You think, that's what I'm saying, the people that were backing him have been eating from the same trough. The fact that I even mentioned, well, I won't call them the police, but let's just say people investigating, haven't investigated. Come on.
But,
there were victims. There were clearly victims, right? And for 10 years, nothing occurred until now he's been charged. Means someone did not do their job to investigate this.
Oh, well, keep in mind, I hear with rapes, it's pretty common that it gets reported, years later. So it was, how long was it? So 2013 was the first assault, and then he was being investigated 8 years later. So that time, sure, it's a long time, but maybe that's because the victim didn't come forward earlier. But from that point onwards, there's no denying it was very slow. So the time between...
So, there is nothing in that...
4 years.
Yeah, there is nothing in that timeline to suggest that it wasn't slow in every aspect.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was in a power position, and there are people in the town, as you suggest, that are still even if he is guilty, I don't care, he's still Aussie battler.
Yeah.
People have been eating in that trough.
Yeah, but it's I guess when you say position of power, I think that's interesting. Felix, for instance, many of the socialists, they frame having a job as a politician as like a whole bunch of perks. This is a great place to be. Another way of looking at it is like decisions need to be made. The people of Kiama need someone representing them, and so like if this guy's out of parliament and all this, like what are the people of Kiama supposed to do?
Like in Menzies it. Well, Menzies basically ruled Australia from Britain, didn't he? For how many years?
He was living in Britain?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that?
No, sorry, pardon my ignorance. Peter, this is probably why I enjoy having you on the show. Your history of Australia seems to go back a lot further than mine.
Touche.
That's not an age thing. But yeah, it's worth mentioning. The segue here I want to bring up. So Gareth Ward, he had albinism, and also he was legally blind from birth. And so,
what's albinism? Is that when you just recite that your mum was poor and you lived in a commission flat over and over ad nauseous? Like,
no, it's other animals besides humans also get it. You have white hair, like the pinkness. Yeah. Anyway,
still nice.
Yeah. Oh no, I liked it. Yeah. But yeah, the reason I brought this up, I was watching a fascinating video yesterday. So have you ever seen the guy? What's it called? Predictive history. So Professor.
I was never going to guess that's what you're going to say.
Yeah, he doesn't mention his name, but Professor Jin Lang. I can't remember his name, but he's Chinese. Well, that narrows it down. Is that not helpful for people finding him? Sorry, I can't remember his whole name. As I said, he doesn't.
It was close.
Narrows it down to like 1.4 billion people. That's pretty helpful.
He split into half.
Anyway, so he was talking about basically psychopaths and how
interesting.
Oh, especially in US politics, you get like a whole bunch of psychopaths, and it starts out. They have what do you call it? Dissociative personality disorder. So basically, you can be like harsher on yourself, and you can have multiple personalities. And so many of the traits he was talking about, they show up here. Gareth Ward. We were saying he was in the Liberal Club in university, like right from day one. He was already keen on getting elected, and then like joining the council at only age 24. Like this guy was, clearly driven towards like, I want to be in Parliament. I really, some viewers might be thinking, is Owen outing himself as a psychopath? I should say I only became really political in 2020. So I would have been 31. Yeah. Anyway, so, I'm not in the same bucket.
He hasn't been charged with anything.
But the other thing,
and he looks less gay now.
But we were saying as well that so having albinism, being legally blind, he probably got bullied at school, and so when we talk about these people having
that justifies everything.
No, well, it helps explain it.
Well, and it helps us maybe understand it, and that's if we care to, but that's about it.
Well, don't we want to avoid these problems happening again and again?
Yeah, understand. I'm talking about his behaviour.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so in the predictive history, they were saying the same thing, that basically if you had a traumatic childhood, that makes it more likely that you're going to have dissociative personality and then basically be a psychopath. And then, so he was saying, for instance, that
if you're committed to it,
committed to being a psychopath. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we can help avoid it, yeah. And so he gave the example, so this is just his theory, but he was talking about in ancient Egypt, there was, in Egyptian mythology, it's quite convoluted. There are basically three main gods, so Ra, Osiris, and Horus. And so, like one of them, for instance, Osiris is married to Isis, but then someone, I can't remember their name, they're jealous of Osiris, and so they chop him up into lots of pieces and scatter him around the world. And then Isis is very determined to go looking for him and piece him back together. And there's rape in the story. There's lots of people getting killed and drowning, and it's a messed up, convoluted story. And so you could ask yourself, like, how does anyone come up with this story or actually believe it? It reminds me of the Greek stories as well. They're pretty convoluted.
Like saying, well, I want you to take your firstborn and slaughter it to prove how much you love me.
Oh, yeah, part of Christianity, isn't it?
No, it's God telling Abraham.
Yeah. Oh, was not
Well, it's by extension of Christianity. So it's you want me to do what?
Did he do that, by the way?
Well, he was about to until the angel said, puncture.
Oh, did that pass the test? Did he?
No, he passed the test because he was about to actually slaughter his son, right?
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about the other shit, where they put the blood on the doors and every other kid in Egypt.
Oh, that's right.
So it's like, mate, you're so unruthless.
There was that one. I can't remember all the Bible studies. Yeah, but anyway,
you're right.
But anyway, Job, I think was the name, but basically mistreated by God.
He did a lot of mistreating.
Yeah,
he's a real narcissist.
But at least so we can say, how does anyone believe the Christian stuff?
Absolutely,
that's a lot of
Stockholm syndrome stuff from birth. Yeah.
Oh, but a lot of the Christianity and Judaism, it seems as though they make various prophecies, then the prophecies come true, and so you believe.
It's easy after the fact to make a prophecy.
Well, sure, that's one explanation. Anyway, my point is, the Egyptian mythology, people looking on it now would think, what, this is just a crazy convoluted story. But then, so Professor, the Chinese professor, whose name I can't remember, sorry, he was saying, maybe it's not meant to be, believed so much as a story. Maybe it's a very useful script. The idea is the pharaohs, they were meant to themselves be deities. And basically his theory is that this Egyptian mythology was a script. The priests would follow this. They would do all this stuff to the pharaohs to condition them. They would cut the pharaohs. They would drown the pharaohs. So they almost, they had a near-death experience. They would rape the pharaohs. All this was meant to make the pharaohs identify as these three main gods, who got drowned and whatever. And so they would legitimately believe that they were gods. The story made a lot of sense to me. And so they were saying as well that, they'll do this to all the members of the royal family because, if the pharaoh dies, you need a replacement immediately, not, 3-4 years later, as in Gareth Ward's case. And so, if you raise these people to have dissociative personality, to be psychopaths, then that's essentially what they needed from their rulers in Egypt. And so, as I said before, predictive history, look up the videos. It was fascinating. But then he was saying later, he was talking about how that relates to the US at the moment. And so the US...
It's the demigods that are in power.
Well, that's a good connection. I didn't think of that.
He could have just rolled with that. He could have said, yes, that brings me to the point.
Yeah, I said, that's a good connection.
Yeah, but then you said, I didn't think of that.
I didn't.
But you could have just rolled with it and pretended you thought of that.
Anyway.
We'll save that for the edits.
But another connection I was going to make. So the US education system has the most convoluted admissions process anywhere.
What do you mean?
So, like in China, for instance, they do the Gaokao exam. All the students in the country, when they're 18 or so, do essentially the same test. And then that decides if you want to go to whichever university, whether or not they accept you.
Right.
It's just what was your score in the Gaokao.
Okay. Like we said, HSC here.
Yeah. But then here there's a bit more flexibility.
Yeah.
But so in the US, it's common. So in the Ivy League schools, for instance, they have so there's the score. Can't remember what it's called. And then also
those SAT things.
Yeah, SAT. That's right. Yeah.
Watched a lot of TV.
Yeah. So the SAT, and then there's also you have to write an essay. An essay from an 18-year-old. Sorry, many of them are crap. And then letters of recommendation from the teachers. And so
So your mum has to go and like butter up a principal and all that.
Yeah.
So first.
Well, it takes many years, and but then these admissions processes, a big problem as well. It's completely opaque. You know, when they make their decisions to reject people, you know, they don't say why, and then so it leads to, you know, allegations of racism, for instance, because the, you know, demographic makeup of who goes to the Ivy League schools isn't the same as who's in the population, or even, you know, who gets good marks. I mean, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that like people with an Asian background, for instance, are underrepresented at the Ivy League. Keeping in mind,
Because they're shit at math.
exactly. But yeah, so this professor, by the way, he went to Yale himself, you know, one of the Ivy League schools, and he was saying it's because they could see that he probably had a dissociative personality disorder based on his background. So he got good marks, but not, you know, spectacular marks. Yeah, like if you hadn't considered his background, then, you know, you would find it sort of inexplicable. Why is he being admitted? But then...
So what are they admitting to? Didn't have great marks?
Because they were pretty sure he had dissociative personality disorder.
So they pushed him through because they thought he thought he'd be a leader in industry or something? Or
Yeah. Well, so that's the idea. So he was saying
in
that...
China, this was, or in America?
Well, no, he was... So Yale.
Really? They identified him in the US and thought this guy could run some industry.
In terms of identifying him, like, they apply.
Yeah, but does he go on to describe what they identified and how they identified him?
Well, you know, he can only make guesses. But as I was saying, he's saying...
It wasn't him torturing his cat in his room.
I wonder, could you put that in your in your submission?
Like, what do you do in your spare time when you're not gaming and coding? Well, I just steal maybe, you know, kittens and just torture them. It's like, this guy's going to lead, you know, Wang computers back into, you know, profitability.
We were saying that, yeah, many of the essays, they're not that interesting. What if this is what you wrote?
Well, if you're saying that, you know, these institutions can identify individuals based on their proclivity to become psychopaths, like, what are they looking for? And, you know, we all kind of watched enough movies to know that, you know, doesn't take, you know, 1 minute taking money out of the ATM, the next minute trying to shove a kid into the ATM. You know?
There's films, any sort of crime films. I find them not any violent ones, but like bank robberies and that. I find it satisfying of, like, you know, all the edge cases, like, oh, I didn't consider that could have happened. Versus, like, you know, many of the romantic movies and that, it's, you know, it's very hard to believe, very hard to buy in. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So it's
Not a Notebook fan, man.
Oh yeah, what happens? They break up, and she makes a big deal about it.
And then she gets Alzheimer's, and you know,
that's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame. And it's like, she doesn't even remember. Was it worth it in the end?
Was it?
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, some of them. What's that one? Memento with Guy Pearce. Yeah, it makes you reflect. Oh no, not Guy Pearce. Jim Carrey. Yeah. Oh no, sorry. There was Memento with Guy Pearce, and then Jim Carrey was A Spotless Mind.
With what's her name?
She was in Titanic, wasn't she?
Yeah, let's not talk about that one.
No.
But no, she was like
a good movie.
No.
Anyway, but yeah, the Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. That was a
I only recently saw it actually from start to end.
Makes you reflect.
No, I didn't mind it, but I don't think it was as great as, you know, like, I like my movies, but it was good, like, well acted and everything. Anyway, we'll talk about it in another episode.
But hey, so Peter, when we're thinking about you know, these psychopaths, for, you know, do you believe the story so far? Like,
well, look, it is possible. Is it the most probable? I don't know. I haven't really delved into it, but again, it is possible.
Oh, what about the Egypt, for instance?
No, that's what I thought. You're asking me about the Egyptian thing. I'm saying it is just as possible, but whether it's the most plausible reasoning, I don't know. And even like you touched on the ancient Greek mythology, which obviously the Roman mythology is based on, you know, they were never meant to be, this is reality. You know, if you walk up to the top of Olympus, that's where Zeus and Chaos are sitting there.
No, I heard some people, they didn't think that.
No. It is philosophy, right? They are, that's why the gods were all flawed as well. And they had your demigods as well. So they're always meant to represent our own, who we were as individuals. And,
I see.
And even the stories, like whether it's, you know, narcissist and the hated person, they were all about our lives and who we were, and you had to draw like learnings from that.
I see.
They weren't about this preordained script about how you're meant to live your life, which is more about even what the Abrahamic version of reality is, like his or, you know, Islam or anything else which says this is your life, or preordained by some shepherd who wrote it because, you know, he had this vision from a tree or something telling him that it's the word of God. There wasn't by any doctrine to say this is word for word how you must live your life. Sure, there were probably rituals, but not necessarily, you know, these are the 10 commandments, you know, and the first 3 are basically just God saying, love me, and then don't kill. It's like, no shit, motherfucker.
It's a shame as well. I'm trying to think, the philosophers back in the day, like it did skew towards religious stories. Like, who was the Aesop's fables, for instance? That was what, like 2000 BC, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm older, but I'm that old, man. Come on.
But I'm trying to think because you know, like modern philosophers, if we think of, you know, like Kant, Nietzsche, you know, these have been they've really changed the outlook of the world.
There's a good Kant's joke there, but you just went too fast.
But yeah, they've changed the world a bit. But
of
like,
course,
I'm struggling to think of like
Marx.
Oh, actually, philosophers in the past, yeah. So Aristotle, Socrates.
They had no impact on the world.
Yeah. Oh no, but I'm saying, I was trying to think of like a philosopher in the past who wasn't like a religious story, yeah. And so these guys, yeah. I see. As well, I'd be interested to read more of the like the Islamic philosophers. There must have been a few insights.
Yeah, I imagine like all versions of whatever was originally said, just even as crappy as any other books, whether it's the Bible or anything, right? They've had their versions and iterations and ecumenical gatherings where then people have said, no, I don't like this bit, and here's another, you know, it's the St. James version and whatever. And then you have some other guy who walks around Midwest America and all of a sudden discovers something under a tree, and it's like, you know what? Yeah. I love polygamy. What do you mean? It's in the book. Yeah. And you know what I love more than polygamy? Vagina. It's like, you know, it's like, I'm sure things get changed. So, you know, just the narrative changes to suit the terms of reference that we want. Like saying, you know, people who stormed innocent Indigenous people on a hill, it's because their cars got scratched.
What I'm saying, could have been.
It could have been. Or because they like vagina. Well, they didn't get enough vagina and he wants something in prison.
Well, yeah, like
it
could make the people traumatized. It could turn them into psychopaths.
True, true. The kids,
the kids of the people in prison.
No, the kids on the mound that were attacked. If they were traumatized, then their kids are traumatized, and then they become psychopaths if they don't get the proper treatment.
So one of the allegations the professor was saying. So ISIS, the terrorist group. That was formed out of
Rambo. He did.
What?
Rambo 2. He was fighting for the Taliban.
Oh yeah.
Like he was one of the main guys that instigated.
Yeah, the Taliban. Yeah, sorry. The Taliban, they're enemies of ISIS. Yeah. Anyway, so the story goes.
I thought Taliban were the ISIS, weren't they?
No, yeah, they often get mixed up.
Were they ISIS just the ones that drove the Hilux trucks?
Oh no, that's all of them. Yeah.
But Hilux were pretty good.
Oh, they're great. Yeah. Oh, I mean, if you want to have a coup, especially in Africa, they're very popular.
And then the Middle East, Hilux are very reliable terrorist cars.
Well, you're having a coup. I don't think that necessarily makes you a terrorist.
True,
but I don't think coups can really happen in the Middle East anymore. Oh, but there was the one in Syria very recently.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, does that anyway? But the point is, ISIS, not the same group as Taliban, they're enemies. But yeah, ISIS was formed out of US military prisons. That's the story. And so, yeah, like you heard of, you know, the mistreatment going on. Remember during the Iraq War, there were pictures of the guy with the hood and the electrodes and,
they stacking the prisoners on top of each other. And
there were stories that like they drilled into their heads, all sorts of stuff. And, you know, very reminiscent of the Egyptian pharaohs. It turned these people into psychopaths, and then they went on.
Imagine, like if you got all these people like the enemy, and you put them inside, like and put a wall around it, right?
Yeah.
And then you had a wall around them for like, I don't know, let's say many, many years. And you limited their travel and you limited even their food intake. And then you said, you know what? We're going to just give some money to one little group there and they can control what happens. And then we'll make that little group the enemy of us. So then we'll, vilify that group.
So can't these people just live in peace? This sounds very
I
humane.
know. It does sound inhumane. And then we'll decide that group is... the group
the group surrounded by the walls. Can't they just,
And then we'll say, okay, that group, if they decide to create their own little coup and say, I've had enough of this, open prison and we'll call it this apartheid kind of state. And then it's like, well, now they're trying to kill us in a different way and bombing us everywhere. And I want to fight back and do something. And then the global media just makes it out as though, but don't you think this terrorist big group has a right to exist and changes the narrative? I'm just saying.
No, it's like if they want to live their lives as like the prison guards, then what's wrong with that?
So you're right. And let's imagine this group actually even got the group where the pharaohs were, Egypt, to even build the other side of the wall.
Well, what if people on the other side of the world were helping them out with the air fresheners and
absolutely the air fresheners in the F-15s, which are non-lethal, because I would even need to fact check that because sometimes those air fresheners can be toxic.
Oh,
have you ever been in a car?
I haven't eaten one.
No. Have you been in a car and they've told you like that air freshener smell, the new car smell? It's because of the plastics.
Yeah. It must be.
It is toxic.
It is a toxic smell. Yeah.
So I've been Penny Wong for her to say it's non-lethal. Someone needs to fact check exactly if we're making the seats. Is it non-lethal and over what period of time?
I've heard sitting is the new smoking. Sitting's too long sitting.
Too long sitting. So again, she needs to be fully qualified when she says non-lethal.
Exactly.
And, how long?
Yeah.
And that wasn't a racist comment. The how long?
I didn't interpret it to be.
Okay,
no,
thank you. I wasn't making the Asian joke there.
Yeah. So we anyway, hey, I wanted to. Oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'll have to edit this part out.
Why?
Oh, well, because then
you're doing such a good job today.
I was going to say, that's right, about Labor. Yeah, so, normally Peter and I complain about the Labor Party. Turns out there's a new reason to complain. So I was reading a story the other day. So Fatima Payman, she defected from Labor to over the Palestine thing. She wanted to, I forget, condemn Israel or, something along those lines. And then, at the recent election, her supporters, they were running these ads that basically, they said, vote for Australia's voice, just like Labor, but not racist or not genocide or anyway, something along those lines. But then I found that, I don't know, Fatima Payman, I just find her uninspiring. And then there was a story the other day saying that she bought an apartment, or anyway, she bought a property in Canberra, and the taxpayers, she claimed rent allowance to live in that property, her own property. She's getting government money to pay the landlord herself. What the hell? And then it turns out she got this trick from Labor. Anthony Albanese himself did this trick. All of Labor is doing this trick, buying apartments and then renting them out to themselves.
It wasn't his mum's apartment in the commission flats that he was living in?
That wasn't satisfactory for him, apparently. I guess maybe that wasn't in Canberra. If only he had housing commission in Canberra as well. But this is outrageous. And I can't believe, I'm a very politically involved person. And I only heard about this story a few days ago. I can't believe it's so well covered up. Yeah.
You wonder why someone like Mr. Albanese and, who promised in his pre-election to cut corruption has formed the most, I guess, secretive corruption process now where it's all hidden and, just for a reason. So no one is ever going to cut their nose in politics.
But then it's what I was saying before, I find Fatima Payman underwhelming. I mean, here she is, taking the moral high ground, I'm better than Labor. Okay, great. It's good that she made the stand for Palestine, but there's so much room to go further. We were saying recently, David Pocock, he's the only member of Parliament who doesn't go into the Qantas Chairman's Lounge? You know, the TLs, all these people wanting to take the moral high ground, they still do it. Yeah. I agree with Felix on that point. If I'm
there's, again, you can't be half pregnant, then they're fucked.
got so many problems. But there's back to the US. Sorry, we didn't finish that point. But yeah, I was saying that when they get into the schools, it's yes, they do have the convoluted application process, but then these schools make them into even more psychopaths. Part of it is like their total obsession with meritocracy while they're there. I guess that's a bit of a contradiction because, they have like the DEI policies and all that to get accepted in the first place. But then how the professor was clarifying meritocracy, it's like everything is about marks. Previously, people...
Well, our style was...
previously, people might... they might...
Those leftists, Trump's right.
Yeah.
Get those Marxists out of the universities.
Yeah, you're right. The universities, they skew towards...
Marxism.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
Is that the point you're making?
That's right. Oh, it could be. But then there's all the... previously, people might go to university just because...
Learning.
Like they want to become a scientist. They want to learn about science. It used to be the cutting edge. And so they were saying like Harvard and I think Yale as well, they were started as basically religious schools for Protestants to become ministers or at least, learn about Protestant teachings. It was only later they set up more research universities. So it used to be, they got that idea from Germany and France. They had research universities. And then so in the US, there was Johns Hopkins University, which was one of the first research institutes. And then so I think Harvard and them were already becoming basically like a factory for the elite. But in order to maintain that status, they realized they need to actually teach the students some useful stuff as well, copied from the research universities. So that's when they started offering these scholarships to have some smart people there as well, not just the rich kids. And anyway, so that's basically how it got to the convoluted system it is. But then, like once you get in, it's hyper competitive about marks and everything, and basically winning at all costs. And so, one of the unfortunate things about this is by making learning purely about like what score you get, it encourages cheating and doesn't allow any room for failure. Because, if you fail a course, these students are often assessed on like, what was your overall score for all your courses? And like, I've heard stories of like people choose certain courses because they're easy and they can get a high mark versus, we were discussing with a previous guest about how cheating is rampant, at least at Australian universities. The figure I came across was 62% of students cheat.
Did you do your own research or did you see it?
I read it somewhere. I went through the original publication. But like for me, obviously the idea crossed my mind, but I thought, if I fall behind, like if I cheat, I won't have learnt the stuff and then I'll fall behind. And then, keeping up in university is a real struggle, especially in engineering. And so, for me, it was like, if I fall a bit behind, how can I ever catch up? I'm going to keep falling further behind for the rest of university. I'll never know anything.
Sisyphus happening.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but as well, you see, like this fits into many of the, like in Australia, we have lots of, especially foreign students. And then, so to hear that, the universities are just bullshit, 62% of people are cheating. It's like many of these universities would only ever fake universities anyway. And then if it is a real university, then the students have rampant cheating.
Well, in fact, we're not even discussing AI now, right?
That makes cheating more rampant. Yeah, absolutely. So then, I guess, like
it's a means to an end, like to achieve the grade.
Yeah.
What do they say? B's get degrees? Or is it D's get degrees? What standard are we kind of aiming for these days?
Is it where D cups get...
No, you get it as long as you get a D, you get the degree. So you don't have to
instead of F for fail.
Yeah. So you can really strive to try and get your A mark, but it's still going to get the degree.
Yeah. So then that's one of the things. That's a step in the right direction, I think. So in Australia, So University of Sydney is where I attended. And so they had the system like, yeah, you could pass or you could get a degree with
Honours.
with second class honors or with first class honors. I think those were the only distinctions. Versus in the US, it's not just, you finished, it's also like, what was your overall score? And so by having your overall score, it means it's like no room for failure of any courses yet. Which, I think is a shame.
So there's great scope and discretion for partying and doing stuff that you want to.
Well, yeah, you hear
in
about,
Australia. Still.
I guess.
But it's getting more so to the point that the way they almost engineered it during COVID, where they made even studying arts as expensive as studying medicine now, and a few other little nuances that the Scott Morrison government brought in, which I'm sure that his government would have done anyway, to discourage people who don't come from a privileged background. So again, we're getting more towards that class divide, even in schooling and higher education.
Yeah, it's interesting. There have been arguments like the Greens, for instance, probably the Socialists as well, but the Greens love saying that all this student debt should be cancelled and that universities should be free.
Well, okay, why not?
Well, so one of the arguments is the rampant cheating.
Well, no. Well, forget that. I'm saying I think you and I
The argument
think that whether we had like a minimum wage for society and again, Australia probably could afford to subsidise education, would have a better society overall.
I think it's worth pointing out if it was actually education.
Yes.
So my problems with it are, so number one, the rampant cheating at universities.
And again, we're talking about the system that exists now, because of the situation we've created now, right? It's like when we had our friend from the Libertarian who kept saying, but we want smaller government because the politicians are all idiots. And we basically, you and I are both in unison, we're saying to her, yes, but it doesn't mean you're talking about a system that exists now because we've got morons in place. It doesn't mean that if we actually had better people in with the right capabilities, we would have that situation. It isn't about reducing necessarily government. You just want the right people to deliver on the outcomes that we want. And therefore, what are the policies? And that will determine how many people you need.
Yeah, you're right.
She's just basing it on her cognitive understanding of what exists now and what she doesn't like. And again, not to pick on her, but just to, in your example, it's like, there's cheating now because that's the system we've got now. That's what they're fighting for.
Well, but why do people cheat at the moment? It's because getting a degree, there's this idea of, credentialism. Getting some piece of paper makes you more likely to get whatever job that you want. And then, it's a real shame that I guess the credentials get you the job, and that many places, they don't get fired for, once it turns out, well, they don't actually know what they're doing. The Peter principle we've discussed before. But anyway, so that's a big problem. The other problem I have with the idea of free university for students, let's call it what it is, subsidized university by the government. Universities could offer literally any course, and then the government's meant to pay for it. If the universities decide to do a course, like basket weaving, for instance.
Hold on. No. Come on. We're not going to do that again, shifting the narrative for some sort of arbitrary example that doesn't exist. Right?
Yeah, but we're talking about it.
No, we're not. No, but again,
free university.
No, we've had free universities.
Yeah,
we've had it right until the current politicians that are in power. They all had it right.
Gough Whitlam, he brought it in.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it only lasted like 5 years.
I think there was a bit more than that because the current politicians, actually no, even they brought in Hex.
Yeah,
right. It wasn't that long. Well, in my lifetime.
Yeah. I used Hex.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm saying the fact that we can afford it in this country, right? We choose not to. So we're still basing it on how we currently view the system right now.
Well, hold on. Yeah. So one argument is that universities could offer any bullshit course, and now the government pays for it.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as basket weaving at universities. We're talking about higher learning.
Sure. Peter, don't you like? Okay, there's that example, basket weaving, but like in principle, don't you agree?
But universities. Yeah, I agree. And again, we're talking about proper institutions, which I agree with you. They've been forced to seek funding from overseas students. That's become their business model.
Yeah.
Right? And that's because they've been forced to do that because funding has been constantly taken away And even now, you've seen, not just we know what's happening in America.
Why can't they charge the? Oh,
You know,
there's a cap.
so in America, for instance, now you've had what's happening at Yale and Harvard and other stuff where it says, if you don't follow our political tune, we're taking funding away.
Yeah.
Even in Australia now, but Albanese tried with the anti-Semitism thing. They said, if you don't follow this doctrine, we will take funding from you.
That's right.
So it's starting to a little bit creep in here as well. But this has been happening to universities for a long time. There's, staff that are losing their jobs because they're still taking funding away. Professors and so forth, they're on tenterhooks as in, could they lose their jobs, right? In all universities around this sector. So the business model has become over probably since the early 90s, how to attract overseas students. There's buildings all over the city just for students, right? We all know what's going on, which has then led to...
Well, that's all the fake universities, though. The ones in many...
RMIT's got buildings where students are staying and so forth, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you... Okay.
Yeah. So, but I agree with you. That's now led to where we are now, where students are coming and taking up... Because the business model of the universities require that.
Yeah.
So I agree. If we got back to where we fund and it properly and we get better citizens coming out here, we'd have educated, we'd have a better society. Yeah. And that would feed back into the productivity and all the other bullshit that they keep spawning out.
Sorry, your golden scenario. So the government funds local students more, or just any students more, and then what
the universities could then decide what students they want, right? As in who gets in based on
something more rounded than purely marks, you're saying.
And again, if we go back to the other topics that we've discussed about even a minimum wage, where people then be allowed to pursue what their innate capability and talent is. Yes. Not everyone wants to go to university.
Yeah.
Right? So again, we're talking about holistic solutions for society.
Yeah. Yeah, in the US they have the credentialism, like people, even for jobs where you don't end up using your degree, the hiring managers are still dictating, you must have a degree in literally anything. That's right. They don't even specify.
Correct. That's the class divide over there. You've got a degree, you have it.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And we're heading down there here.
Well, but if we had free university for students, that's one of my concerns, that it would encourage such credentialism.
The reason why they have the degree as a benchmark is because if you have it, you come from a certain class, financial, because you can only afford it.
That could be part of it.
It is it. It is it.
Okay.
The exception to the rule are your scholarship kids, right?
Yeah.
Right? They're the exception to the rule by definition. Those who then get it are part of that elite class by definition, because the vast majority of the people
Are you saying everyone's involved in this class game in the US?
No. But those who control, all right, we can accept the Democrats have no base, right? They're just a corporate entity and their base is eroded. The only people who vote Democrats in America is those who don't want to vote Republican.
Hang on. These are very popular parties still. I mean, sure. The turnout isn't great.
No, sure. So collectively in America, 50% of the population voted.
Is that all?
Yes. Yeah. It was 51%.
In the recent presidential. Yeah.
51% voted. They do it on a Tuesday, et cetera, et cetera. So
they call themselves the world's greatest democracy.
Well, the US is not a nation. The US is a business, right? No, it is. It was spawned on that premise and it still is. So 51% of the nation voted across the board. Then they've got this ridiculous process, even if whoever votes, it's a college system, et cetera, et cetera. So you want to talk convoluted about the university, their voting structures even more so. Then they've got this cyclical process of the Congress and then the demigod system now with what's happening over there. So I'm saying, look, in the Democrats party now, there is no base.
Well, that was one of the things the professor was saying, that like Obama, for instance, very uninspiring. He has no real at its core, what does he actually believe?
He delivered absolutely zero. He spoke a lot. He was a brilliant speaker.
He brought peace. He won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Again, as a transformational leader, delivered fuck all. Because transformational leader, the end part of that is you've got to deliver.
Well, there was one of the big things. I don't know if you saw the previous episode. I used to live in the US for 7 years. Including while Obama was around. But then, so people talk about Obamacare, for instance, basically making healthcare more accessible, healthcare insurance more accessible for a lot more people. But there was a quote where, in the context of universal basic income, so one of the enemies of UBI is the idea of bullshit jobs. And so Obama, when he was considering making the healthcare plan basically more universal to people, it would have got rid of this company, United Healthcare. People might remember the former CEO, for instance. And he was saying, yeah, like these medical insurance companies, they employ like millions of people. And yeah, basically, you know, should he get rid of these millions of jobs? He said this out loud. And so this is Obama openly admitting, let's have bullshit jobs. Obama, yeah, can therefore be said to be like, I guess like the Antichrist of UBI. Maybe we can go that far. Yeah, we got.
Sounds like something penicillin would cure.
We got to have. I was at a UBI meetup recently. Yeah, we should have more. Yeah, Michael Haynes. He wrote a book as well, actually. Yeah, I'll try to get him on soon. But then yeah. Anyway, that turned out well. But I was going to raise another point as well in terms of the voting patterns of like the US, and you know, before we were saying about like the racial stuff. So there's been a controversy in Australia recently. Don't know if everyone's heard it, but so Jacinta Price, you heard about this. Yeah, so the scandal, for anyone who hasn't heard, so Jacinta Price was talking about Labor, the Labor Party who's in government, allegedly making immigration decisions based on like choosing favorite countries and like, let's choose a country where people are going to vote for us. So keep in mind, there was all this scandal about how Jacinta needs to apologize for this statement. So I'll just read out what the statement is so people can choose if they're going to get offended. So they're talking about immigration, and Jacinta says that she doesn't like the status quo. She clarifies it's definitely the core number, as in like the problem with immigration is too many people are being admitted. Then the ABC host presses a bit more. Jacinta says, there is a focus from this government to be getting them from particular countries over others. I think Labor like to be able to ensure that they're going to allow those in that would ultimately support their policies, their views, and vote for them as well. This is Labor. Basically, it's power at any cost. And then so the interviewer tries to clarify, you know, who are you talking about? Who are these people who are more likely to vote Labor? And then, yeah, pretty reluctantly, she eventually names the Indian community as the people who are going to vote Labor. And so that was it. That was the scandal. Mm-hmm. And then, so, you know, she's being forced to apologize. And then, you know, these people, you know, they got a whole bunch of like, you know, Indian people on, oh, you know, she offended us. I found the whole thing just puzzling. Like, what did she say that was offensive? That they vote Labor? The stats show they do vote Labor. So for instance, Col Samaras, he's a pollster from Redbridge Group, who were hired by Labor. And so his stats showed that people with an Indian background vote 85% for Labor. Mm-hmm. So, like, what, if you say that, that's offensive? The whole thing just seemed bizarre to me. I don't know, what's your opinion, Peter?
I'm just appalled that someone like Jacinta is representing anyone.
People vote. I mean, you know, so we talk
Gareth Ward. Yeah, no, exactly. No, exactly. You know, I keep saying it every episode, you get the government you deserve. Mm. So the fact that a moron like that, and I'll use the word that, because she collectively classified a group of people as them. You know, what word she used to describe Indian people in her...
I think she said the Indian community.
No, before that.
Able to ensure that they're going to allow those in.
Those. So because she said those, I'll call her that, right? No, she used she didn't collectively say, so I'm just full of that. Because I have no regard for her as a person.
She should have instead said...
No, I don't need to qualify. I'm telling you why I'm calling her that, because I have no respect for her either. And she's now just a smokescreen to deflect from us discussing, I mean, us as a society, the real issues that are around. And she's now the new flashpoint on TV to deflect on, it's not the racism that got on the streets, it's the Indigenous lady who, you know, helped us battles through the voice issue and stuff like that. She was a voice of reason at the time because she's an Indigenous person. So we couldn't tell her, shut the fuck up because you're a moron then because you are black. Where now she actually said something almost Bob Cattery, but it's kind of not the right thing to say because, you know, he's another idiot.
Well, hang on. So, Peter, your issue is not that she said that, you know, Indian people predominantly.
No, I'm not going to buy into the. No, I'm not going to buy into this alleged pseudo racism from her to buy into the, again, shifting the terms of reference.
You're saying she wanted it to.
Of course they do. This is the news cycle that they want us to focus on.
She seemed pretty reluctant to name which race she was.
I don't care about her. I'm saying the news cycle collectively want us to focus on this rather than the fact that, one, the Albanese government has just signed massive mining contracts, right? We're now saying yes to America to do the submarines in Perth.
Yeah.
Like all this other stuff that's going on, whilst everyone's focusing on, did she say Indians or not? Like, who gives a fuck? We know what a moron she is. We know there's all this other stuff going on, but everyone's focusing on that.
Fair enough. Okay.
That's my point.
We shall move on. We shall not endorse this media cycle. Well, that one of the other stories I was going to discuss, though, there's also about India, actually. It's about
She can come on here if she likes.
yeah.
Come.
No, we have had a wide range of people before. Tell me if you want to discuss this story then. So, Indian spies have been kicked out of Australia. They were okay. Okay. Okay, different topic.
Oh my God! So is Albanese's got nothing more to do? Like, seriously, at least John Howard pretended there were kids getting thrown overboard. This guy wheels out his own, Hannibal Lecter, wheels him out from ASIO in front of the lectern. He goes, yes, we we have captured some people from the embassy. We're wheeling them out. Islamophobia is alive and well in this country again. For fuck's sake, you're telling me now they've got some Indian spies?
Oh, they did kick them out, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Shit. Do we want to...
Yeah, no, please tell me. The other viewers may be... I was not aware of this.
Okay. So a common thing for spies, they pose as embassy staff, consulate staff, and then actually they
should just drive Ubers.
That's the way to blend.
Just blend in. Like even Jacinta wouldn't pick them up.
Yeah,
they'll pick her up.
But anyway, so they in the story, this is by ABC as well, by the way.
Well,
so to your point, is the media making a big deal about nothing? Anyway, so in the story they were also talking about this Indian separatist. He's leading a movement to set up Khalistan, which is basically a predominantly Sikh breakaway from India. I guess it's worth noting that in India, they call India either India or Bharat officially in the constitution. Bharat is named after an ancient emperor.
Made all those shows.
Oh, probably. Well, because it is like a guy's name in the past, an emperor. Anyway,
okay. But
then also there's like essentially a nickname, or in some languages they refer to the country as Hindustan, which, like basically place of the Hindus.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
From Hinduism.
Really?
I mean, probably. Anyway, so that's to set some context for listeners about why there might be a Sikh breakaway group. Anyway, and then so one of the Sikh breakaway people was killed in Canada, and so the Canadian.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I think about a year ago. So the Canadian politicians were blaming India, and so relations there aren't good. But then in the story, it's interesting. So this is a quote. Tell me what you think about this, by the way, Peter. Sources have told Four Corners, this investigative program, sources have told Four Corners, the OFBJP, the Overseas Friends of the Bharatiya Janata Party, the governing party with Narendra Modi, the OFBG's strategy is to infiltrate politics by first getting elected to local government, then state, and ultimately federal parliament.
Sounds like your path.
Well, I mean, there was an Onion headline, I remember, North Korean plot revealed to sit back quietly and watch the downfall of the US. It's like, where in this plot are they doing anything sinister? This idea that these, okay, sure, they have an Indian background. The fact that they're going to run for local government and get elected, state government get elected, like, where's the sinister cabal here? Like, if people are going to vote for them, that's up to them, isn't it? I mean, better, the friends of the BJP, better him than Gareth Ward, Barnaby Joyce, many of these people. And so, I guess, I wanted to bring up this story to sort of highlight how, the ABC, I guess to your point before, they're fanning the flames, making up these nothing conspiracy theories. But I find it puzzling though. The friends of the BJP, they're aligning themselves with the Liberal Party. And so, before we were saying, so Jacinta Price, she's part of the National Party. They have a coalition with the Liberals. And so, I guess these friends of the BJP, they're probably thinking like, oh shit, what has Jacinta done? So
just as a bit of fact checking again, the term Indus.
Indus, yeah.
You know? Alexander the Great, when he went over there, that's where it was derived from.
Oh, India is in Indus Valley. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, but anyway, well, let's move on from that. I don't plan on discussing India again. Okay, back to policies. We had Miles on recently from the Fusion Party. I thought that would be our chance to actually discuss some more policies, but missed out on that chance. But Peter, you have a few opinions about the Owners Corporations Act has been reviewed at the moment in Victorian state government. How would you change owners corporations?
Well, body corporates and the connection they have with developers. Firstly, the fact that the body corporates have just got this luscious connection, and the profitability of them is just sickening. There's something going on there. Then the connection that they have with the corporations of the buildings, there's a sick connection going on.
There's a lot of
sycophantic behaviours.
For listeners, I wrote the submission for the Fusion Party about how to fix the owners' corps. But I did. One of the things I mentioned was I called them charlatans, the whole industry. Because like in our body corporate, for instance, so we bought off the plan. By the time we got here, there was already a management company appointed to run the building with like a 5-year contract, I think it was. And so, just the mates of the developer, the fees are high. They pay all this money, like landscaping, for instance, down in the common garden. They have, they're regularly trimming it to look like some sort of like ornate English sort of hedge thing, but, with different plants. On my garden, I only have native Australian plants because, we're in Australia and, I want to benefit the Australian animals around us, the native wildlife. I don't want to keep hijacking it. People talk about, the stolen land in Australia. And like one of the ways I think, we should treat it with respect. We should, encourage Australian wildlife to still prosper as much as possible. That's a side topic. But what do you think? So in the submission, there were, I made 10 recommendations. So the first recommendation, that's the wrong bill. Sorry, just a second. The first recommendation was to make, so they have model rules. Basically, if your owner's corporation doesn't specify the rules of the building, then it falls back to these default rules. But these default rules, I think it's only like 6 pages or so. Compared to our building, it's like 44 pages. Yeah, so, these aren't extensive enough. So that you agree the model rules need to be more extensive? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, number 2 point, there need to be some clear bounds for what can actually be legislated by the owner's corp. Like they can't tell you to, kill yourself, for instance, that sort of thing.
Ideally.
But as well about like plants and animals. So what was it like our rules? They say, for instance, something about keeping the plants maintained. Like, what is that? As we were saying before, they keep chopping at these plants to, sculpt them. What if we appreciate Australian nature as it is? What if we don't want this artificial sculpting? And then as well, they talk about like keeping away vermin, animals they don't like. What counts as vermin? I mean, these people in our building, they...
What if they like our plants smoked?
Yeah, could do.
Well, apparently we're not allowed.
Yeah, that's right. It's, because it's more like some Australian plants, they spread their seeds thanks to fire.
I don't know, still talking about Australian plants.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, but then so like our owners corp, for instance, it has it says that we need to keep the everything free of vermin, I think is the word they use, and they list a few animals. They list ants,
Really?
spiders. Like what the hell? We're meant to like kill all the spiders, and I'm saying like in the Victorian rules, ideally you should say like owners corporations are not allowed to tell residents to kill any animals. Like that's outrageous. Yeah.
Next obviously saying terminate AI.
Yeah. I wonder, can we set? Oh, I'm not quite sure how we could use that. Anyway, but yeah, it sounds as though you agree with this idea as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 3. So to change the rules and various other things, you need a special resolution. Basically, I think 75% of the owners have to vote yes. That's 75% of people in the building, not just who turns up at the meeting. And so, like getting people to turn up at these meetings is already a challenge. The idea that, you can only change things if 75%.
Well, that's where it happens a lot of time. The developers still have a share in the buildings, so they maintain control.
And so basically, if you have any sort of government, including an owners corporation, that can't actually pass any changes, then, bad governance and stagnation. And so that's bad. It sounds pretty agreeable. Number 4, so many of these in an owners corporation is probably an apartment building, and there are probably lots of people who are only renting to be there. And so, they're obviously not part of the owners corporation, but, they have skin in the game. They're affected by this. So I was suggesting they should be able to speak at meetings, definitely get invited to the meetings at least. But can't vote. I don't think they should vote, which is the status quo. And then number 5, the government should make an open source program for voting using digital ID. So can you imagine you log into the MyGov website, run by the government, and then you can vote through there? Because like a big problem, obviously, with voting is like, well, who is this person, especially online? And so many people, they rely on like Google Forms, for instance. But, we've discussed previously how like there was that lawyer who was banned from Google because they accused him of molesting his son. Anyway, so, you can't trust Google for voting.
Did he molest his son?
No.
Okay.
The police found he didn't.
No, okay. I was thinking, am I focusing on the wrong part of this? Just because he works for Google, it was okay.
The story. The story was the son had a swollen penis. This was during COVID. The physician asked the father to take a picture, to help diagnose it, and then the photo got synced with Google Photos. Google Photos tagged him as like a pedophilia. They call it
AI's fault.
Not AI. A human could have made the same mess up. Yeah. Anyway,
but they didn't.
Who knows? It was because COVID. That was still before ChatGPT.
Yeah, I'm just kind of extending it to your new principles of saving AI.
But so that one seems pretty debatable. Number 6, more transparency for owners corporations. So they should have to publish what's the popularity of meetings. How many people are turning up. Reveal the long-term maintenance schedule of the building. And also reveal the approved rules. I mean, yes, you could, before you move in or buy the place, you could ask the real estate agent, but, they're, I think Jay, when he was on, he said, I think he called real estate agents parasites. I'm pretty sure.
Paraphrasing there.
Yes. Anyway, but so people need more transparency before they move in. And this also relates to point 9, that you should be able to browse owners corporations. So at Consumer Affairs Victoria, you can look up a specific owners corporation. Yeah. But how are you going to know?
And they shouldn't be locked in for a tenure for that any length of period. Every 12 months, they should be up for review.
Oh, well, I mean...
Why?
No, but that's up to these people to agree.
No, but I'm saying, and again, these 75% to make decisions.
Yeah.
So, and again, a body corporate, as in the group that services these...
Yeah.
Like, what do they actually do that they need a 5-year tenure? Like, that can't be done if every year we'd say, well, are we happy? Because if we're happy, fine, keep them. If not, we should be able to shop around.
Well, yeah, but like, isn't that up to the owners corporation though? If they want to have a 1-year term, 5-year term.
Then you say we're all locked into this for.
Yeah, well, but I said, so. I get, yeah, well, because I was thinking about, one of these problematic scenarios is like, the fact that this 5-year agreement was locked in before before anyone, when it was only
It's not
the
reasonable.
developer,
It's got to be. It's unreasonable.
yeah, yeah. So maybe,
Like, what is it that they offer anyone that would give anyone the benefit of 5 years?
well, but then you have a problematic scenario. So, like with health insurance in the US, since that's often tied to your workplace.
But it's not here.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, since the healthcare is often tied to your workplace, the health insurers are uninterested in investing in any sort of long-term care because the payoff is going to be like 10 years from now when this person's not actually a client of ours anymore. And so, isn't there a worry that like
I'm trying to draw the nexus with what you're saying.
Yes.
They offer a service for what we need, right? Because I don't get a lot of service from, but I know what they offer, right? Because I've had my own properties where I've rented them out as well as a landlord. So they just offer a service. Like, they don't rely on our longevity to profit when we, when they sell us. They don't own a stake in this building. They just offer a service. So if they're competitive in their service, we'll keep them, and they provided something that was effective and efficient in, a viable financial way. So I get how you explain the like an insurance company, how they work, because they operate in a different premise where at the end there's a payoff. This is not what they do. They're not an insurance company.
Well, yeah, but so there's like a long-term maintenance plan for the building.
So there's documents which determine insurance. So there's insurance companies that look after that, and all they do is obviously archive it in many instances.
Well, but I thought, don't these management companies, don't they help create the long-term maintenance plans?
But they all do.
Oh, actually, no, they hire like building professionals.
Yeah. So I'm saying they all do. They are nothing more than a conduit, a group that maintains the files, the information, and they get the plumber. They'll get the electrician. They'll do this.
Yeah.
In themselves, they are not the plumber. They are not the lawyer, right?
Yeah, because I was thinking
they are a service provider as a conduit. Like, we could have done it differently, where we would have said we've got our own. Instead of having the cafe down there below, we could have rented it out to a maintenance person. Right?
Cool, yeah.
And we could have said, you're in charge of our insurance stuff, our maintenance. Could have done a different system. But in Australia, we like to subsidize and give it out to the private sector, and we do it quite differently. But my point is, there is no reason why someone should have a long-term contract to provide that service. It's monopolized it.
Yeah, you're right. It's that would probably be the simplest solution.
So if they're offering us a good service, why would we get rid of it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
isn't that the whole idea of this enterprise system? These guys have monopolized it.
Yeah, it's Peter, I should have spoken to you before I made this submission. But actually, our local guy.
I told you I should have been your campaign manager. You would be in federal politics now.
I'm thinking about that. Well, because someone was saying the other day, it's like I'm writing a lot of the policies for Fusion. If I was going to run independent, for instance, because one of the stigmas about being part of a party, people think like, he's being told what to do, pulling the party line. Like, well, I'm writing the policies. I'm the one setting the party line.
You just need one Svengali behind the scene. You don't need multiple.
Yeah, Peter, I think it's By the way, listeners, if you have any thoughts about like, I don't know, any stigmas of like running for Fusion or independence, or if you think Peter would make a good campaign manager, let us know.
Just write in if anyone needs anyone. Because he's not interested.
No, I am interested.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Oh, you meant for you. I thought you were like advertising me out to the general public.
Oh, well.
Like a call from Barnaby.
That would be a bit half, I guess. You could definitely help with that. Could you do the, could you pull miracles? Could you get Gareth Ward back in?
I don't know if I want to pull that miracles. I think he might be interested.
Well, actually, hang on. Oh, one of the topics we did.
Am I young enough?
Yeah, probably not. But actually, we didn't.
Well, thanks. That's the third time you've made an age joke now.
Oh, come on. The oldest guy was 24.
But he was like 34 at the time.
Oh, yeah, he would have been 35 at the time.
Yeah, but I said incrementally, he hasn't Leonardo DiCaprio'd it.
Yeah, you're right. He keeps getting older.
So now he's getting older. That could be like, you think that
Could be.
Yeah,
Something to aspire to.
something.
But well, actually, that's one of the that's enough of the building stuff. But so back to the Gareth Ward thing. Yeah, so I wanted to get your thoughts. So we were saying, let's accept it as true that voters were writing in, vote one Gareth Ward, quote unquote, falsely accused. And we were saying before, people still vote for what's his face, Barnaby Joyce. Given that voters, we have some restrictions about who's allowed to run. Given that voters don't seem to agree with these restrictions, then
Good point.
should we get rid of the restrictions? Aren't they undemocratic? And so one of the restrictions, for instance, is that you have to be...
Can't be bankrupt, for instance?
Yes, yeah. I think that's the most bullshit one. So yeah, I think you can't be bankrupt. I don't know about being charged with a crime.
No, you can't.
Oh, okay.
It depends what crime, I guess. But
Well, and so you have to be Australian and you have to be a registered voter, which implies being 18 or older.
well, there was a few New Zealanders that snuck through when they kind of did that test a little while back.
Yeah, that's
during the Morrison lockdown period.
Yeah,
this
there was the
whole
controversy,
fiasco.
The
yeah.
double dual citizenship.
Yeah.
But well, yeah. So Peter, do you think? I don't know if I've asked you this before on the show, but like, should we relax the voting laws so that foreigners, criminals, children are allowed to run?
Well, it hasn't stopped anyone else being in Parliament already. But
Greta Thunberg, people would vote for her. They reckon.
And so you're saying like non-residents could just be elected?
If Greta Thunberg wanted to run for, say, federal Australian Parliament, I think she would get a fair few votes. So, like...
Again, but the way that the system is in Australia, like we don't have like a single populist person that can just run like a president, because you still have to represent a region.
Yeah, sure. Like,
but that would make it quite hard. Like, okay, just picking a region now, you could say, you say, okay, fine, if she came and decided, okay, I'm going to live in Brunswick.
Yeah.
And then perhaps she may get some vote. But if she dropped herself in Kooyong, she may not get the same amount of vote.
Well, keep it, when we're talking about like representing an area, keep in mind there's no rule that you have to live there. That's what many people say is important to them.
Yeah, but you still have to win that area.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Right, that's all I'm saying in dropping in there. So you have to pick an area to say, okay, I'm going to vote, I'm going to fight for that area.
Here in Brunswick, I reckon if Greta Thunberg ran, I think she might get elected. Yeah, so, federally for Wills, yeah. I think she'd be pretty popular.
I don't know. I think there's a very strong affinity to, as much as, I have no doubt there's a lot of people here who do have the strong opinions on certain matters. I also think there's a very strong reductive view of that. That, whether it's on, we'll call it Israel-Palestine, they are feminists, environmentalists, they'll very much advocate for it, but it is very much on the reductive side. And when it comes to...
Oh, sorry, what's reductive?
It's the hashtags element. It's like, I am one, but...
Oh, you're saying, sorry, that Greta Thunberg essentially is just a bunch of...
No, not her. Oh. And I'm saying people, maybe even in the region, for instance, they might make a statement to say, you know what, yes, I stand for the people of Palestine.
Yeah.
Right? But in another conversation, they could even make a statement to say, but there are still a lot of people in Israel that, are against this war too. I can see both sides.
If there was a candidate who was more a hashtag candidate.
No. I'm saying the people of Brunswick, as we're saying, if Greta came here, I don't know if she'll just win outright just because it's a very inclusive, left-looking kind of area. I don't think everyone here identifies fully with all her views.
Yeah.
They may, on the surface, say yes, but if you scratch a little bit behind, a lot of people still identify with effectively what Australia mostly is.
Yeah.
And that is...
I think I'm pretty Australian.
Well, no, it's just, I don't know, but I mean on the white freckled, it's like, I still want to preserve what I've kind of got.
Oh, yeah. I mean, or like, I at least would.
I don't want to say the right things, but at the same time,
I would like to...
Australia.
Yeah. I'd like to think I'm more than just...
Oh, no, I wasn't picking on you.
Yeah.
I wasn't picking on you.
But sure, I definitely agree with you that some people, for them, it's like just looks. I mean, I was told when I was running in that place, Aston, like people criticizing me that I had pink hair, for instance.
You're like your mum.
Yeah. She was my biggest supporter. She was
Did she say you look too gay?
oh yeah, but still she was thankfully she did stand up for me when she tried to give a flyer to someone and the guy says, well, pink hair, can't vote for him like that. And she said, I can't remember what it was, but something in my defense. So good on her.
Good on mum.
Yeah. It's it is pretty disappointing when people vote just based on as we were saying before, Lee Kuan Yew, just based on sort of racial demographics and nothing deeper. But then actually thinking about that, so like Michelle Obama, if she was going to run, so, sure, different race to, what's common in Australia.
To Barack.
But if Michelle Obama was going to run in Australia, I think she would get a fair few votes. I think she could get elected as well.
Well, I think she'll actually get a lot of the reductive feminists on board, yeah. Yeah.
Another candidate people might vote for, the next Dalai Lama.
The next Dalai Lama.
Well, because
I know they have a vision, don't they?
Yeah.
Spin the
I'm saying it because they would be a child. So
Yes,
they're identified by the time they're like 5 or so.
do they drill holes in their head like the Egyptians just to get them ready?
Well, this is why they're being oppressed, because they haven't got a powerful psychopath leader.
They should have put some money on it because there's no point being in Tibet and not gambling on a better outcome.
They need some of that Bitcoin from from Bhutan.
We're still
That's our plan. But who else? Foreigners, edge cases who could run and maybe get elected in Australia.
Daryl Summers is due for a comeback.
Was he?
No, he used to host Hey Hey It's Saturday.
Yeah.
And then when that show got sort of cancelled, he used to win like the Logies every year, the Gold Logie, surprisingly, even to himself.
You reckon
And he's kind of like disappeared off the face. And I think
people vote for him?
I think there's this nostalgic thing for Daryl. And maybe with his psychic Aussie, the stuffed ostrich, the pink ostrich. But whether the ostrich comes back or not, I think Daryl could make a comeback.
Maybe in politics. There was I'm thinking, it would be hopeful if more
with the clowns that we've got right now. I think Daryl could be a breath of fresh air. I don't know what he's doing right now, but if Daryl Summers is out there,
okay.
And I want him to go against you in whatever seat.
Oh, this one's the camera, by the way.
Yeah, I'm talking to you though.
Okay. You wouldn't want Daryl competing against me.
Against you, because I
feet.
don't want to be splitting my, advocating for Daryl here, and then people saying, "Well, is he really backing doing a proper job for Owen?"
Yeah.
Whilst he's already on record as advocating for Daryl's campaign. Oh, so I'd like Daryl maybe to be running in another seat if that's possible.
Actually, thinking about I don't know. I'll probably
vote
run again federally. But so I'm thinking. I don't know if I will run again federally. But so our psychologist friend bumped into her today. She was saying,
which psychologist?
All
right.
So I was very surprised. She said something about that her psychology clients, some of them knew me, and that made me puzzled. Is
through what?
Oh, she didn't say. Oh. And then so I said, what? This is the guy who turned me crazy, that fucking politician bloke in Brunswick. Or I don't know, maybe it's he's crazier than I am.
Well, maybe they're just a loyal viewer. Did you ever think of that?
I don't know. It makes it because
it is more possible.
But I mean, I don't know. Part of me felt like, isn't it good that I'm making an impact? But then part of me thinks wait, why does it come up in psychology sessions?
Because she hangs out with psychologists. It's her collective group.
Not necessarily her clients. I see.
No.
Yeah,
it's like they get together and talk about things that they can't do.
Yeah. I see. But then,
I was going to sneak it in somewhere.
With the professor we were talking about before, though, he mentioned he doesn't like psychologists. He said he's never met anyone who's gotten better thanks to a psychologist. And there's a theory as well.
And he's seen like 6 of them.
Probably, yeah. There was Miles actually was saying there's a theory that psychologists are crazy, and basically lots of people study psychology to cure themselves. And so basically the people who end up finishing are the ones who never got cured. But There was actually, sorry, we're no longer chatting about politics, I guess, but a funny story about the psychologist in the US. I went to see one. Oh, it was on Zoom, but anyway. So first session, I think it's only like 45 minutes. It didn't feel super useful. It was mainly just him chatting about what a great psychologist he is and how he plans to help me. Okay, that's great.
Did you see any ink prints?
No, we didn't get to that, unfortunately.
But there's only one answer for those. Big hairy vagina. Every time. Every time.
I'm a gold star guy.
Okay.
I don't know what that But then, so second lesson goes ahead. I thought it was odd. Yeah, actually, that's right. So first time, not only did he just spend the whole time just pitching himself, which is pointless. I'd already hired him. And then, so like halfway through, his family arrived and he's helping them with groceries. I'm thinking like, I thought we had an appointment. With the same, many of our podcast guests. I thought we had an appointment with them. Anyway, so I thought, okay, whatever, not a big deal. Maybe he didn't know when his family was going to get back. Anyway, so second appointment. He's in.
Are you sure this wasn't a date?
Is that what he thought it was? Could be. But second appointment with this psychologist. He's in like, it looks like a hotel room. Maybe it's his bedroom.
That's sounding like a date.
And so he's sitting on his bed.
Oh my God.
He's got like the laptop on a nearby table. He's only wearing a singlet and I think boxer shorts. Yeah, very odd. You think he's going to wear a suit or something? Anyway.
This is a fucking date. This is a beauty call.
We skipped dinner. We went straight to the bedroom. But it is on Zoom. Yeah.
Shit! I thought you actually went into his hotel room. I'm like, what the fuck?
Anyway, so he's got the camera set up.
Make you drink something before.
Yeah.
Go on.
He's on his bed, just in like a singlet, and then as we're chatting, takes off his singlet, throws it on the laptop camera. Oh, sorry, I think there's some sort of issue with my camera feed. I saw you throw your shirt on it. Like, what the fuck? Blatantly lying to my face. But he did give me some good advice. He was saying, we spoke a bit, he recommended like Nelson Mandela. I should look into him.
Everyone knows about Nelson Mandela.
Oh, I didn't know as much about Nelson Mandela, but
I thought it was like, have you heard about this guy Nelson Mandela?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like
Nelson.
No, it's like look into him.
Yeah, no, but he did turn out to be a fascinating character, Nelson.
Okay.
That was the end. I didn't see the psychologist again. Okay. But
what else did he give you?
That was the main thing. And he said like I should watch the movie with Matt Damon. I didn't.
So he really liked Nelson Mandela.
Well, I did watch a documentary about him.
No, but I'm saying like
that guy did.
The only thing that he really conveyed was like, get some information about Nelson Mandela.
I think as well. I was, you ask the psychologist basically like, is my life on the right path? How could I improve it? That sort of thing.
I could tell you that for free.
Well, I hadn't met you. But yeah, I guess, I think we discussed previously with Simon. So one of the things that surprised me, Nelson Mandela was a terrorist.
Well, again, depending on, how you view things, like the example I gave before about those individuals in an open, prison. Eventually they want to break out and do something. Is it a coup? Is it terrorism? That was the point I was getting at, right?
Well,
because you said not every coup
is necessarily terrorism.
Yeah. So, again, if people want to say, okay, well, this guy is now fighting for his people and free them because of the state that they're in. Yeah, sure. You want to call him a terrorist? Okay.
Well, I found it really interesting how I think he's a great example of how, when people use the word terrorist now, they very much imply like that's, you're basically the devil. But he was elected president later. Many people would agree that he should have fought back against apartheid. And so are all terrorists bad?
That's the point I just made.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to...
Yeah. No, I'm saying like, in the term, right? It is just a shit in the terms of reference to suit who controls the narrative.
Yeah.
It always has been.
I guess, Peter, finishing up, would you recommend, should viewers learn more
terrorists?
Should viewers learn more about Nelson Mandela?
I know nowhere near as much as you clearly do. So
I could learn more anyway. Okay, thanks viewers for joining us.